Hi, welcome back to Packet Tracer. This is 4135, implementing an IP addressing scheme. So we are going to be subnetting an address based on some host requirements, assigning host addresses to devices, configuring the devices with IP addressing, and then we'll verify the configuration. So we have a worksheet that I've filled out already, so we can look at this to get started. So we are given the private address space of 192.168.1.0/24, and we need to subnet it for these requirements. LAN A needs 50 hosts, LAN B needs 40 hosts. So I've split it up like this. Out of the 8 bits, I've got 2 over here for the subnet, 6 over here for the hosts. So the answer to this question, how many bits left for the host? 6. How many bits can be taken from the host to make a subnet? That's 2. And the 62 I got up here because there's 6 bits, so you take the formula, you take 2 to the power of however many bits you have left, which is 6. So that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 64, minus 2. The bottom is the network address, the top address is the broadcast address, so that takes out 2 that can't be hosts, so you have 62 hosts available, which is going to satisfy both of these, and it's going to be the lowest number that you can get out of subnetting to satisfy both of these networks. And it leaves a little bit of room for expansion, so that's how we get the 62 down here, and that's going to create 4 sub networks. We're only going to use 2, so you'll have 2 left over. And to get that new subnet mask, instead of it's 255, 255, 255, and instead of 0, now you add the remaining bits up here to get the 192. So that is your new subnet mask. So then we're going to assign those hosts to devices. So the subnet address, the network address for subnet 0 is 192.168.1.0, and the subnet address for subnet 1 is 192.168.1.64. These are both 26 instead of 24 because we have taken 2 bits. Before it was 8 bits, so it was 24. We've taken 2, so we have to add that to notate that in the CIDR notation. We add the 2 that we have taken, so we're now at 26. And so the first address on subnet 0 is going to be 192.168.1.1 because this .0 is the network address, so this is the first usable IP address. And then with subnet 1, 64 is the network address, so the first available is 65. The last address available in subnet 0, which we are going to assign to host A, is .62 because .63 is the broadcast address, so we can't use that for a host. And then the same thing down here, the last one is 126 because .127 is going to be the broadcast. So default gateway for host A is .1, and default gateway for host B is .65. They will usually use the first IP address for the default gateway. So now that we have figured out all of our addresses and schemes, we can go ahead and go back to the packet tracer and start filling them in. So first we are going to configure host A and host B with the subnet mask and the default gateway. So we're going into host A here, onto the desktop, to IP configuration. And we are going to keep it on static here. So, lost my sheet. So the IP address for host A was down here. And the subnet mask was 192. Default gateway was 1.1. And then for host B, whoops, IP address 192.168.1.126. Subnet mask is 192. Default gateway was 65. All right. So we're going to check our results on the Assessment Items tab. Our configurations for host A and host B should have green check marks. So let's check it out here. So we got all green check marks. Nice. Alright, so now we're going to configure the LAN interfaces on the customer router with IP addresses and subnet mask. So we'll click the customer router, go to config, and on the left side under interface, click Fast Ethernet 00, and we are enter the IP address and subnet mask and make sure the port is on. So we are on this is going to be subnet 0 here. So the IP address is going to be 168.1.0. I'm sorry, that's not what we wanted. 168.1.1. We used the network address instead of the default gateway address here. Change the subnet mask to 192. And we've already got the lights lighting up, always a good sign. So Fast Ethernet, let's bring it over here, 0/1 was the one that's connected to host B. And this should be, it already gave me an error, but yes, it should be 6.5 down there. Okay, 192.168.1.65. Set that mask, shows in, make sure the port is on. And it looks like it is connecting there. Alright, let's see. So we can click back on the assessment, so I'll wait till that turns green. There you go. So everything has green check marks. We've got everything on there. So let's verify our addressing configuration. So to test the connectivity between host A, host B, the ISP workstation, and the ISP server, we can use the Add Simple PDU tool to create pings between the devices You can also click host A or host B, then desktop, and use the command prompt and use the ping command to test the connectivity. So all we have to do is hold our mouse over the device to get the IP address for it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually go into the command prompt and do ping. But let's try to ping this ISP workstation. So it is 209.165.200.230, if I can remember that. That's probably totally wrong. 209.165.200.230. Two oh nine one six five 200 230. I'll get it. There it is. So we have reached, we have 100%. Looks good. Let's try the server, which is 240. And there you go, 100%. Looks great. Everything looks connected. Everything was checkmarked, and we verified that we can ping across the network and reach both ways. So that will conclude this packet tracer. Thank you very much.